So first of all, the reason I specialize in a pistol and not a rifle is not because it's a better weapon, but it's because I can actually carry it. You have to make a sacrifice in order to carry a pistol, all right? The sacrifice is a couple of different things. One of them is going to be power. The other one's going to be accuracy. All right, you're a former Marine. You can use a rifle, no problem. That doesn't translate to a pistol. However, if you translate from a pistol to a rifle, it generally does. It's what we call one-way transferable skill. Any idea why that happens? Rifle has 2 points of contact, so you don't really have to worry too much about trigger control, grip. Sight picture and sight alignment come into play, but that's about it. Take that the other way around. The trigger control, grip, is all there is to this thing. Sight picture and sight alignment are secondary, honestly. Once you get good at it, you don't even look at the sights anymore, is what people say. And that's true, it just means you're looking at them subconsciously. People aren't doing this, okay? Everybody understand? Beautiful. So I got a couple questions for you guys. Let me get this, because I've got them lined out. Thank you. Alrighty, so question, what's more important, power or capacity?
Capacity.
What do you think? All right, cool. So what happens if I miss you 19 times? Did I win the gunfight? What happens if I shoot you 37 times with an airsoft gun?
I'd say.
Right. So power has a serious role to play here. Furthermore, capacity is kind of irrelevant if the next step doesn't come up. What's more important, speed or accuracy?
Accuracy.
What do you think?
Accuracy.
Okay, sure. Because you can't miss fast enough to win a gunfight, right? But can you aim slow enough to lose one?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So speed, accuracy, power, and capacity are kind of this balance that we have to get. All right, now I've landed on a Glock, either a 19 or a 17. I think you've landed on a SIG 365, you're rocking a Smith & Wesson. These are all great weapons, they're all fine. I think yours is 15 rounds, yours is 12 or 15, right? So we've got more than enough capacity to deal with it. I like to say 5 rounds is probably what you need for a helping of bad guy. And that's statistical based on a couple of different things. One, just my own biased experience of what I've seen, done, and learned. 2, it has to do with a couple of researchers. One of them is going to be a guy named John Correa. He hosts a channel called Active Self-Protection. And he does thousands and thousands of videos a year of real self-defense shootings. And the whole 3 feet, 3 shots, 3 seconds thing is absolute hogwash. That is a mathematical average that does not actually articulate itself in reality very often. What usually happens is there's 3 possible scenarios, all right? I like to say you've got robberies, right? You've got riots, and you've got absolute raging maniacs. Those are your only 3 threats you're really gonna face as a civilian, all right? And they all require a different set of things. The first one is a raging maniac is gonna be the most dangerous. You're gonna be dealing with somebody who likely has a long gun, somebody who likely has armor, somebody who showed up to fight and is there to fight. Cool thing about that is they're about the rarest. Even though they don't seem like they're way more common, they don't happen a lot. They really don't. There's 300 something million people in this country. These things might happen once or twice a year, all right? Even if you give them 12 times a year, which is once a month, that's still nothing statistically speaking compared to the other 2 scenarios, robberies and riots. All right, now when I say riots, I don't just mean the things we've seen recently for protests going out off the winds. I also mean things that you might not necessarily think of as a riot, but crowd dynamics are a real thing. If you're downtown and there's a group of 20 people giving you trouble for whatever particular reason fits your life correctly, you probably shouldn't assume your pistol is the best way out of that. People do. I'm serious. So those are the scenarios. Today we're going to be focusing mostly on the robbery scenario, as in someone has accosted you, they either have a weapon or they're my size, and they want whatever they want from you. And they're likely not within grappling range. All right, the reason they're not going to be within grappling range is because, like, when people rob people in the movies, they tend to come up to them and grab them like this, right? I don't want to do that. That gives you the ability to grab my weapon. Same thing with a knife. If I'm this far away from you, right, and I demand things from you, it's very unlikely I want to use the knife. I want things. But both of you have done these types of drills. How fast can I close that distance?
Really fast.
Right? You've done this in judo training before. If we go to Randori and we're this far away, can I grab you? Yeah, right, like, not instantly, but there's no way you can react in tempo to keep me from grabbing you. Now, you might be able to throw me with that grab. You might be able to guarantee a right hook because my hand is grabbing you, but I'm gonna grab you, right? So, we don't want today to focus on a distance where we might get into what we call an entangled gunfight. All right, for that, you're really going to want to focus more on getting on the mats and doing defensive tactics classes. For defensive pistol, we're generally dealing with one or two people about this distance that likely have a firearm or a knife, and you're going to need to get the weapon out, use the weapon, and move, then put the weapon back. Then you're going to need to do something else that I've never seen another instructor do that I feel like you should be able to do. You need to get your phone out of your pocket. All right? And I'm going to have you guys send a text today. If you can send a calm text message, course complete, to my phone number, you can call 911. All right? Because that's what you're required to do, right? You're not going to end this and be like, yes, and then get in your car and walk off, right? That's not going to happen. You have to call the police and you have to accurately articulate what just happened. So everybody got that? Cool, we're gonna move right along then. We're gonna talk about what we're actually gonna do here today. Sorry, I gotta use my idiot sheet. Beautiful, so that's waiting your turn and tempo of the fight. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is talk about the ways in which you can carry this gun. From my understanding is you're rocking appendix carry and you rock outside the waistband. That's great, that's a great way to carry. Considering you're going into law enforcement and you don't carry the majority of the time, those are the right answers. But I'm gonna go over every way you can possibly carry the gun. One of the first ones you'll see people doing is putting it right here. Like a small of the back carry or SOB carry, they'll do this. And now there are some advantages to this in that I can get it with both hands, all right? It's actually quite concealed, all right? However, there's some real disadvantages to this. One is if I'm printing, everyone knows but me. All right, the other one is that, and judo man here, Jeff, step forward real quick. If he pushes me backwards onto my spine, how do you think that's gonna fare for me? Where's this gun at?
Yeah.
All right, furthermore, if we're in that first scenario that we're again not necessarily working on today, but it is a realistic thing, and we get into that entangled gunfight, what do I have to do to get my gun? I have to, like, screw this. I have to put my weapon all the way back here and then get it out. So I think it's probably the worst place to carry your pistol, to be completely honest. The next thing you see a lot of people do is inside the waistband, but they'll do it over here, like that. And that's cool, it conceals pretty well. The issue I have with this isn't really on the draw. That works pretty good, very similar to the way you carry yours outside. The issue is on the return. You'll see this happen a lot. Now you see how I've got shirt caught in there? Everybody see that? Can you see this? You'll see this happen all the time. Now again, this is a very popular method of carry. A lot of my students do this. I'm not telling you not to do this. I am telling you though that just went off. All right, so that's up to you how you want to do it. I have seen people do that. Never on my range in front of me, but I know people that have happened to. So I said, just don't carry that way. If you want to put your gun on the strong side, all right, come here, Kai. Holster that for me in your strong side weapon. All right, she holsters it and then go ahead and cover it. And it's just as concealed. The shirt's a little large, but that's just what you're gonna have to do. You're not gonna be able to dress in a tight fitted shirt and carry a gun outside your waistband. People aren't shaped that way. Let me have that weapon. Thank you, ma'am, very nice. All right, so outside the waistband is doable and it really works. And if you're not gonna do that, you should go appendix. That's the right answer. All right. The reason it's the right answer is a couple of things. One is everybody says you're going to shoot your junk off, you're going to shoot yourself in the femoral artery. You shouldn't shoot yourself at all. Let's start there. The reason this is so dang dangerous is everybody see how I had to check to see if it was in the trigger or not? I had to really lean over. Every one of you could see it, but I couldn't. All right, now that's the exact opposite of here. I can look down and see every part of me that y'all aren't interested in. I can look right down into that holster and make sure there's nothing there. I can see it. That's not true for anywhere else except one place, and that's outside the waistband because the angle's different. It's not back here, it's out here. Furthermore, I can fish my way into my outside the waistband holster relatively safely. Look at that green laser. Now here's the really crazy part. If you holster this like this, you see how the weapon, it's literally pointing at my gun. It goes straight down. There is no part of me. I wish my anatomy was in such a way that I wouldn't shoot myself there. There's no way, man. It will blow a hole right here and into the floor. It looks far more dangerous than it is. And again, unless your name is Ron Jeremy, you're not gonna shoot yourself there, even if you do fire the weapon. You're just gonna put a hole in your pants. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
I've seen people who have like the bands that go
Mm-hmm.
around here and they like carry like on their stomach, I guess. Is that wrong?
So my wife,
It's just like not
Steph,
beneficial at all.
she has carried that way before. Let me see that iPad, Angel. I'll just set this down here. So she has carried that way before. You can go back. The issue that I have with it is that when you have a full gun, right, and you've got something here, generally we're wider here and here, right? Either women are this way, men are this way, women are this way, men are this way, but we still have a spot in the middle that kind of hourglasses, right? So if I start putting some type of elastic here, and then I want to put something heavy in that, and I start moving around throughout the day, it has a natural tendency to lower because gravity's not going to bring it up, right? So once it starts to lower, you end up with just really high appendix carry that looks like you've got a FUPA at the end of the day. Now, if you were to go to something like an LCP or a J-frame, teeny tiny baby gun, that'll work really well, right? But then mission specific, right? Like my SIG 365 or hers are mission specific. We carry them, like she has a tiny baby SIG, like what she actually carries is very small. I carry a gun identical to that when I go to the gym because there's no way I could carry that and do like squats and stuff like that and it not be obvious to everyone that what's in your pants. And I'm not gonna be the guy with like the man purse or the fanny pack. Not saying you can't be that guy. That's a good option, in fact. The problem is I'm already 6'8" and I draw a lot of attention. So I would just prefer to carry a tiny gun. It's a 9mm, it's got plenty of ammo on it. But what you aren't gonna do is make no sacrifice. One of the first things we talked about. You're going to sacrifice power, capacity, speed, or accuracy somewhere, the smaller and more comfortable the gun is to carry.